Hey guys, welcome to Massive Iron Live. Welcome to Friday. It is Friday, May 23rd, and I'm filled with dog hair. I was just outside playing with the dogs. I hope you guys are having a good week. My dog Chi-Chi is 3 years old today. I have 5 dogs, and Chi-Chi is 3 years old today. So I was out messing around with him and the other dogs. Hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to Massive Iron Live. It is the longest running lifting podcast in the history of the universe. I'm here to help you reach your goals. I'm here to cut through the nonsense. I'm here to cut through all the fear that exists in the lifting community and show you guys the path to freedom. And the path to freedom is very, very simple, but it is not easy. Before we get into things, if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to drop them in. I'll stay on as long as you guys post questions. There are no dumb questions, stupid questions, no redundant questions. Don't feel like a question has been answered 1,000 times before. I am here to help. If your question doesn't go through, try shortening it. Sometimes if it's too long, it won't go through on the YouTube. And sometimes YouTube will throttle you for using naughty words. So don't use naughty words. But seriously, sometimes someone will say my question isn't going through. What can I do? And a lot of times it's just simply YouTube throttling things for no reason at all. So before I get into things, we got a 3-day weekend. I want to announce that I have been, if you're interested in coaching is what I do for a living. I have, over here on my website, superlivingtoday.com. I'm going to keep the $6.99 yearly special up. I'm not going to raise the price. There was a lot of pressure to kind of raise the price and all this and that with everything else going up, but it's such a popular special. I just want to announce I'm going to keep it at $6.99. I'm not going to raise it. I'm going to keep it there year round. It just seems very, very accessible, and I like to work with people for a year. So if you're interested, the yearly special is just going to stay at $6.99, and you can go over here and check out coaching. So that is about it. That's all I'm going to say. We got a big 3-day weekend coming up in America. I hope you guys are doing well with your training. If you guys want to connect on a little bit deeper level, we have Team Massive. You can go over to the link in any previous video. Team Massive, there's a Discord server you can connect with. If you can't find the link, or if the link's inactive, head over to Instagram at Ben the Barman and message me, and I will send you a fresh link straight off the grill. Right. I also have a Facebook group for anybody that's on Facebook. So you can check that out. Just search Massive Iron 30 plus. So let's get into things and see what we got. Let's get some good questions today. What do we got? Big Joe. How's it going, Big Joe? Good morning. Hope you're having a good Friday. Why does starting a cut hit so hard on lifts? And is there a way to minimize strength loss? There's no magic way to minimize strength loss. No. The biggest thing you need to realize is on a temporary cut, you're going to have a temporary hit. And you'll see a lot of chatter on, it's very common for people to talk about how to minimize strength losses, during a fat loss phase. But the thing to remember is you're going to take a hit and it's going to come back when you're done. So there's no need to panic. You're going from this normalized state where you have extra calories, your body's running very efficiently at that level, and all of a sudden you're taking in less carbs, likely less electrolytes, you're a little bit glycogen depleted, your body hormonally is trying to adjust, so you're going to feel off. It's just, how off do you going to feel? How off will you feel? It's going to depend. How will each specific lift feel? Well, that's going to depend. Each lift is going to feel a little bit differently, so there's no magic one-size-fits-all answer, but it's just part of the process. It's nothing to fear. And the whole premise of minimizing strength loss hinges on the belief that you're not going to get it back, right? Or the fear that you're not going to get it back. You're going to take a loss. You're going to have less energy, less glycogen. You're just going to feel weaker temporarily. You can't expect to run hot all the time when you are in a weakened state. It's just the way it is. It's not generally on a short-term cut, it's not really muscular strength that you're losing. That capacity remains as far as muscle memory. It's just kind of running in a depleted state for a while. You're going to temporarily feel flat. So don't worry about it. Don't panic. It's nothing you should, there's nothing you can do. You got to do what you can do to focus on getting the fat off and then get back to it. Big Chris Jackson, CJ. What is the heaviest thing you've lifted, not including workouts, competitions, and weightlifting equipment? What is the heaviest thing you have lifted? That's a very good question, not including workouts. Wow, I'm trying to think through this and see if there's any, when you get pretty strong, like I will say, like, it's I'm not bragging. I'm just sharing some stories. So I hope you don't mind, but you kind of get to the point where you're like almost inhumanly strong compared to the average person. And I feel I was there, to the point where, you're benching and deadlifting and squatting weights that very few people will ever have. And you have a strength level that very few people will ever have. And again, I'm only framing this because it's an interesting dynamic. Someone will say, hey, you're going to Best Buy and you like buy a monitor and like, hey, do you need me to get a cart? And like, and they're like, that's heavy. And like, okay, right. Well, you kind of, part of it's ego, and part of it is like, it's really not heavy to me. Right. So I remember one time we had to get a new dryer, and my old house, there was it went down, there was no walkway to the house from the garage, so it was about 100 feet down. So the delivery truck came and they had the dryer at the top of the house, and the guy asked if I wanted some help, bring it into the house, and I kind of got this book up my ass that I wanted to see if I could pick it up and carry it down to the house. I don't know why. You're just kind of curious. So I got my hands under the two corners of the dryer and leaned back and picked it up. And I kind of was carrying the dryer like this, with the corner on my shoulder like this. And I carried it all the way down to the house. I don't know why. I was at my peak strength. I wanted to see if I could do it. So I wouldn't say that was the heaviest thing that I've lifted, but definitely one of the most unique things I've lifted. Big Yvonne, how's it going, Yvonne? Glad to have you here. Big JJ, Justin Jones, good morning. It's been a few weeks. Glad to have you here. Shelly, client of mine, how's it going? Shelly from the West Coast, Best Coast. I know Shelly every morning when she pops on Team Massive by saying Shelly from the Best Coast, West Coast. That's all I got. I can probably do 10 reps with your 1 rep max bench press weight on pendlay rows. I can do probably 10 reps with my, I read that as my, like what? I read that backwards, with my 1 rep max bench. What's going on? I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know how your weight is going. Presses can be harder, when your calories aren't as nailed down. So it sounds like your back is a little bit obviously stronger than your press. Usually they're relatively close. So I'd really like to see the numbers just for reference and for curiosity. Richard, good to have you, Richard. Good to see you. Can I replace deadlift with stiff leg deadlift? Yeah, absolutely. The deadlift is kind of a unicorn lift. Just make sure you have enough back work in the mix. The deadlift works the back very, very well. And even though it's not specifically or 100% a back exercise, it is potent enough to be considered a back exercise. Just make sure you have enough back work in the mix as well. I train at home and am limited in the variety of leg exercises, which is very common. Do you recommend doing squats twice a week with different rep ranges? The exercise you generally have are like a Bulgarian split squat or a alternating lunge. Goblet squats, I mean, it's almost harder getting the weight in the position than it is to challenge yourself on goblet squats. You can you can get a kettlebell and do like somersault squats. Those are fun. But beyond those types of exercises, what I would typically do is do like your bread and butter squatting, like squat threes or, straight sets if you want that. And then on the second day, don't overbake the volume, but do like 2 sets of 6 with pause squats. That's a good place to start. That's what I would probably do. And on your second day, like a posterior day, you could lead off with deadlifts or stiff leg deadlifts and then do 2 sets of 6 pause squats. Rico, what do you got cooking up in the lab this summer? I am working on a workout this weekend. Specifically, Jamie is one of my clients, and he asked for a new workout. And it's in the style that I've yet to create, so I'm probably annoying Jamie by not getting it to him. But I'm going to be using ramping sets followed by rest pause. So I like to kind of when I get an idea, I like to kind of piece it together and see, what can we do with this? It's kind of like something you get like an epiphany. Like I put together some information on ramped sets the other day, a couple weeks ago, whatever. And I'm like, what if I worked up in ramp sets and then instead of doing back downs, I did rest pause. So I'm going to be putting that together in some way, shape, or form for Jamie. And that's one of the big exercises I have coming out. My training app, you guys want to take a sneak peek? Can we take a sneak peek? Am I allowed to take a sneak peek? I'm going to, the training app is really, really, really looking good. We got a few bugs to iron out, but it's looking really good. And this is just a sneak peek. This is a workout tracker. I'm not going to let you see too much. It's a workout tracker. We've been working on it. And there's a lot of relentlessly and effortlessly, for quite a long time. So we got, things you can track, the old calendar, structuring a workout, creating a workout, a workout builder, all kinds of things. So I'm really, really hoping we can get that out. We're starting to discuss the next edition, which is social features. It's taken a long time, but you have basically 2 guys and a couple of helpers with the app. So that's the big thing. That's the thing of bigness. Richard, after doing military press, I do incline presses. Fine. I changed the dumbbells for the bar because it's more practical. That's fair. That order is fine. It's all about the bigger picture of the program. So that order is fine. A lot of my clients will do like a military press and then an incline dumbbell bench. When you are doing 2 uppers in a week, which is very common for my client base, I like kind of having more of a slightly inclined focused upper day. So on day 1, you might have a bench press and you might have a seated dumbbell overhead, which is very vertical. And then the second upper day, you're doing like a military press or a seated pin press, and then a slightly incline. So it's a little bit more incline focus. That's absolutely fine. No issues at all. To work the hammies from home with isolations, What range? Bands are hard. I'm not going to lie. Stiff leg deadlifts will get you some hamstring work, so I'm glad to see you doing that. If you're going to do bands, it can be hard to progressively overload. You're probably best doing some degree of volume or rest pause. So I'm not saying you have to do this, but it might be beneficial to consider doing like 50 rep rest pause sets where you go out and do like 12 to 15 reps. Don't detach from the band, but kind of rest for 5 to 10 seconds, do more reps, rest 5 to 10 seconds, do more reps until you can get to like 30, 40, or even 50. Let's get some cumulative volume. Let's get some good mechanical tension. Let's get some overall stress. You need a big hitter in the mix, but you have the stiff leg deadlift as a kind of a launching pad. So that would be one suggestion. Beyond that, I would probably do just high volume, maybe 15 rep sets or something like that. And you're welcome. Thank you. Big Ernie, thanks for tuning in. Big Bob, thanks for tuning in. Bullet, thanks for tuning in. Big John, thanks for tuning in. Good to have you here. John's from my other world. I just came out with a tabletop baseball game for any of you that are secretly interested, and I actually have the cards right here. This is something I put together. It is a tabletop baseball game. I'm not sure if any of you guys are familiar with the industry, things like Stratomatic and APBA, but in my limited free time, this took me nearly a year to put together with a lot of hard work on the side, but that's John's from my secret other world. Do you believe in the law of accommodation? Do you believe in the law of accommodation? I'm going to get the official definition so we can post it here and have a launching pad for a discussion. So hold on one second. I want to bring this up because a lot of people aren't familiar with this concept. So let me remove it, remove this. I just asked Chat GPT to give us some information because I want everybody to be on an equal playing field. There we go. So I just asked Chat GPT. I put in law of accommodation, muscle building. The law of accommodation as it relates to muscle building is a principle derived from Soviet science, sports science, and popularized by strength coaches like Louis Simmons of Westside. Here's what it means and how it applies to hypertrophy and strength building. The law of accommodation states the response of a biological system to a constant stimulus decreases over time. Basically, in simpler terms, if you do the same exercise, same weight, same reps, your body adapts. Absolutely. So one of the things when we're talking about progressive overload is that someone will say, I've added in a superset, and that is my progressive overload. Okay. That's fine, but the body is going to adapt to that very, very quickly and efficiently. So you might have an initial spurt where the body is responsive to that intensity technique. But if you don't continue to layer on additional weight or additional forms of progressive overload, the body will adapt. It has no reason to further adapt because there's no additional stress. Does that make sense? So you can take rest pause training. You can take normal training and you can condense it into rest pause training. And during that period of a month or 2 months where the body is adapting to the new stimulus, you will get some growth. You'll get some growth response, simply stated. But if you do not continue to add weight over time or we're not specifically focused on adding weight. We're focused on training hard and beating the logbook through the lane of hard training, if that makes sense. Progressive overload of weight is the fallback mechanism for all forms of growth. All the other forms of progressive overload, like adding volume, introducing intensity techniques, diminishing rest in between sets, they are finite. They are very limited. You can introduce them, but they, after the break-in period where the body adapts, there's no reason for the body to get bigger. It makes sense on paper. So it is absolutely valid and absolutely a reality. So I'm going to see what else ChatGTP has to say. In muscle building, you must create new stimulus. Yes. If your body accommodates to your training, hypertrophy slows or stalls. Absolutely. Progressive overload with weight. Exercise, you can change your exercise, but you're going to need to default back to progressive overload of weight. Tempo intensity changes. We just talked about that. And also forms of training periodization. If you're going to get involved with training periodization, you want to do so in reasonable phases where you can introduce a block or phase of training. Have that break-in period where your body adapts to that new demands of that style of training, and then we move on to progressive overload or trying to beat the logbook, so to speak. So, yes, absolutely. The law of accommodation is a real thing, and there's no way around it. Barbell Beauty, happy Friday, Team Massive. Good to have you here. And thank you for the great conversation this morning on Team Massive. I wish every morning was like that, so I appreciate you joining me. Big Ernie P, what are your thoughts on light band work? Do I think it's going to make a dramatic impact on recovery? Not really. I really, really don't. I mean, what are we trying to recover? So, if that's the question. What are we trying to recover? The key thing most of us are trying to recover is muscle soreness. Muscle soreness is generally not really muscle soreness, and that might sound confusing. But when you look at the composition of a muscle, you have the fascia and connective tissue. You have the fascia in and around a muscle. Each muscle group has a different fascia profile. So you might find in the gym that some muscle groups get more sore than others. This is generally fascia related, and science is lagging a little bit on this, but I hope science will catch up to my theory, because this is my theory, and the foundation of my theory is that the fascia or connective tissue has a 9 times greater density of sensory neurons, so it's more susceptible to pain. So I'm going to bring up another point. So most of the pain and discomfort you are feeling is from soreness or discomfort in the fascia or connective tissue in and around a muscle. The reason why muscles are sore to different degrees is because they have different fascia makeups. So it is my opinion that most of the soreness you're experiencing is in the fascia. Now, to add to this discussion, and I'm not trying to make a rule, and I'm not trying to say I'm 100% right, but I think we are missing something when we are trying to analyze muscle soreness. If you sit for a while, you're going to get kind of that calcification or tightness or stiffness. Most of that is with your fascia and not necessarily your muscles. Does that make sense? So if you're sitting for a while or you're stiff, yes, there can be a degree of muscle tenseness or tightness from maintaining the same position, but also a lot of that is from your fascia or connective tissue. So if you are stiff or sore, if you want to kind of loosen things up a little bit, yes, I wouldn't invest a lot of time. I don't find that, doing a little bit of band work is really going to make a dramatic impact on soreness. Usually there's 2 degrees of soreness. There's extreme soreness, like, holy crap, I squatted and I'm very, very sore and it's hard to walk down steps. And I don't, certainly you can do a little bit of work to try to mitigate that. A hot bath, a little bit of band work, a little bit of walking, something to get the blood moving, get heat to the area. But, the muscle has to go through the process it's going to go through to recover and repair. And I don't think these doing band work and even doing hot baths are going to make a dramatic impact in the recovery time, but they certainly can feel good for temporary relief. Does that make sense? Andy Thousand, Big Steve, I heard a top YouTube personality that I won't mention say that anyone over 40, this is ridiculous. This is absolute crap. If it's me and you sitting in a bar or, you're down in the gym with me, I'm going to say this guy's an idiot. But I won't say he's an idiot online because I don't want to sound offensive, but he's an idiot. This is the problem with fitness. These generic proclamations, and the body is fragile, and anyone over 40 or 50 shouldn't use certain rep ranges. There's no other way to put it, folks. These people are idiots. They're somebody that has no understanding of coaching people in the real world. I'll be 58 in a couple months, folks. And I feel physically training the same I did when I was 28. That's not an exaggeration. Even though I'm not maxing out on deadlifts and squats like I did 10 years ago with the goal of extreme powerlifting, I'm back more in my bodybuilding, power building mindset. There's no difference physically for me. There's no difference physically. I mean, everyone over the course of their life is going to accrue injuries and wear and tear. That's part of life. You can't escape that. And most of that's going to come outside of the gym, right? So, you have to adapt. I'm laughing because this is just absolute crap advice. Unfollow this person. Really run as fast as you can away from this person. Because this person is a functional idiot. I'm not sure they can even change a light bulb. And we're using a little bit of humor here, but I'm using it to stress a point. They truly are an idiot with no personal experience, and they shouldn't be trying to coach people over 40 because they really have no idea what they're talking about. You adjust things based on needs as you progress forward in age. So if you do pick up an injury, you're going to have to adapt, or maybe you can't use a specific exercise or whatever. But when you see black and white or blanket statements like this, either this person's selling something or they're an absolute idiot. Please unfollow them. Would you recommend VersaGrips to everyone? Yeah, absolutely, 1,000%. Because one of the most common injuries in lifting, and I say this from a coaching experience, number one, lower back is very common. Getting used to deadlifts and squats and overworking the posterior movements, very, very common. But the second most common is elbow tendonitis, and it is related to overuse of the grip. And no matter who you are, if you're a serious lifter and you're doing a lot of grip work over time, which you will, you're holding barbells and dumbbells and gripping the leg press and the handles on the leg press and leg extension, you're overworking your grip every day. You're going to get severe elbow tendonitis. You need to use grip support. And the best thing you can do is use something like ProTech has a new, which I'm going to talk about. I don't have them handy. ProTech has a new set of grips where you can actually put it around your watch. So it's a next elevation, but you need to use something like that 100%. It's not related to experience. It's related to an injury that you are about to pick up if you don't. Shelly, I highly recommend the coaching. In 1 year, I'm 1 year in with 1 year to go. Let the gains continue. Thank you, Shelly. I remember when you first signed up, I was so excited to work with you, and I appreciate it. I really, really do. I don't just, I mean, it's hard to say, it's hard to express this, but with the people I work with, you're with them for such a long period of time. You build a relationship on some varying level. And I'm so invested in the success of everyone. I try to temper that a little bit and not sound like super excited guy, but everybody who I work with, I am invested in their success to a crazy degree. So, um, having been down the road myself and seeing what it takes to go from point A to point B, I really want everybody else to be able to experience that. JR, how's it going, JR? Thanks for tuning in. Big Justin Jones. I'm looking to buy a new powerlifting bar. The one I have now is an Olympic one, and the ring's so wide that I can't use it to adjust my grip. How long should the bar be? It should just be standard. It should be a standard bar. I would go over to. I'm going to show you guys something. This is where I got my barbells, and there are many places to get barbells, but I'm going to show you a website. I have no affiliation with these guys, and look, their website looks older than dirt, but they have good products and they have a good price. And I mean, you can get good stuff at Titan Fitness or Rogue or whatever. This is NewYorkBarbells.com. And you can see the website. It looks like it's from 2002. Don't be intimidated. Product list. And you go to barbells. I just want to show you something. Barbells for powerlifting. This is where before I had mine made, this is where I got all mine. And they have just top quality barbells. And where are their specialty ones? Fat grip. That's a fat grip. That's a shorter little duty. Olympic bars. Here are their Olympic bars. And the black one's just kind of snazzy. That's what I used to have. And you can see they both have the center knurling. $249. Really great bars. I used to beat the living crap out of these bars. So you want to get a 7-foot. You don't want to get a 5-foot. And this is a good place. I mean, we can look at Titan Fitness as another source. I have no affiliation with any of these people. So do not, I just want to state that. Let's look at their barbells and see barbells, Olympic barbells. Oh, they got some pretty good prices on theirs. I would say New York barbell is going to be a little bit better quality. I mean, I know I was benching, 500 with it, routinely, and never had any issues. I beat the living crap out of them. I have a Titan barbell that I got during the pandemic. It's solid, but I wouldn't say it's as solid as a $249 option from New York barbells. The Performance Series Olympia barbell or Power barbell. I'm not sure. The Power has center knurling. It doesn't look like the Performance Series does. Generally, if you're going to have a home gym, you probably want something with center knurling just so you can squat and bench with it, etc. It's a pretty good price. So hard to beat that. All righty. Big Aaron from Team Massive. Good morning, Big Hair Ugly Dude. I'm going to do the old switcheroo trick from benching with a touch to pausing every rep. So the biggest advice I have for you is remember the point of a pause. The point of a pause isn't how long I can pause. The point of a pause is to learn or practice control. Because if somebody is working with me or comes to me with a question and their bench is like boing, bouncing it off their chest, and they're loosey-goosey, they don't lack a lot of good control during the eccentric, I will recommend a pause for the reason that it forces you to control the weight down. So get a t-shirt kiss, and then Don't worry about the pause. As long as you can sense a split-second pause, then you can blast back up. The point of a pause is to teach control. If you want to pause longer, that is fine, but you have to be able to maintain control on the chest. If you get loose, it kind of defeats the nature of a pause. Now, I don't like to create rules, because there have been some guys that like to get it to the chest, relax, and then press up as sort of a almost bottoms up pin press. You could do something like that as well. Just know the weight's going to be a little bit lighter. So there are rules and there are reasons to break the rules, or ways to break the rules. When it comes to the paused bench, just remember, it's there to teach you control. It's there to teach you to remain tight on the chest. So that's the main function. If you have mastered that and you want to go a little bit loose and then press up to increase the intensity, you can certainly do that. Does that make sense? Muhammad. Someone has a small body, higher body fat percentage than their maintenance I've never seen a man with maintenance calories that low. Just being honest with you, never. I've been coaching for a very, very long time. There are some older men and some men that are closer to 2,300, 2,400, but that's about the rock solid basement I've ever seen anybody's maintenance calories at. So I would like to know more information. I don't know. I've never seen any men with a maintenance level that low. I never rule out any possibilities, but I would need more information to counsel you. If you want to come over to Team Massive, ask BHUD. I want to see your calorie average. I want to see a graph of your weight. Let's analyze some data and get into some things. Barbell Bryce, good morning, Canada. And let's see. Joshua, for shoulder size development, are dumbbell lateral raises, dumbbell outright rows? No, they're not enough. Dumbbell laterals, we were talking about the law of accommodation earlier. They're a fine last place exercise, but they have limited progression opportunity. That's the reality. It's not an opinion. If you're going to say strict and focused and controlled in a hypertrophy bodybuilding sense, the dumbbell lateral has a limited progression opportunity. I've been doing them for 40 years, and I assure you, I'm not doing them with 70 pounds. I'm doing them with 30 or 35 pounds. And that's the same weight I was using on them in 1988. Okay? Let that sink in. 37 years. There's no progression. It's not because I'm inept. It's because it's not a leverage-friendly lift, and you're not going to get a lot of progression out of it unless you start to cheat it. And if you start to cheat it, then you have to ask yourself, what's the point? So dumbbell laterals are dumbbell apart rows are okay, but these are all C-tier exercises. All exercises are good exercises when they're reasonable exercises, but you have no big hitters. You need a dumbbell or barbell overhead press. You need a machine overhead press. You need something in the mix with a big progression opportunity. Yes, to a degree, they're going to hit your triceps and they're going to hit your front delts, but they're also going to hit your side delts to an amazing degree, like none of these will, because of the progressive overload. There's a tendency in this industry to shy away from overhead presses because they, to a degree, hit the front delts. This is such poor logic, I can't even begin to explain. Bench presses hit the front delts even more than overhead presses, I would argue, for the average individual, if not equally so. But we don't stop bench pressing to work our chest because there's front delt involvement. Neither should you stop working your overhead press because there's front delt involvement. The front delts don't need any extra work, but you do need overhead pressing for the side delts. Working the side delts, working the overhead presses aggressively has left me with some pretty incredible side delt pumps. So you need those in the mix. 4-day split, upper lower, rest, upper lower, rest, rest. For lower days, should I do one with going most all out to failure? It depends on your exercise selection. So it's really the totality of the program. Every exercise is going to be different. So you want at least one set per exercise that is pushed for maximum safe quality reps at minimum, trying to beat the logbook in the lane of hard training. I don't ever go near failure on squats or RDLs or stiff leg deadlifts, etc. That's a recipe to jack up your lower back. You want to progress in a safe lane, so to speak. Does that make sense? My question, let's see. I mildly strained my calf doing Nordic curls, which made me realize my calves are involved in the movement. Yep, bracing, they're going to be heavily involved with the bracing aspect. After doing them for a while, my calves grew from 15 to 16 and a half inches. That's great. That's a testament to hard work, and it goes against the belief that you can't build your calves. I have a client, Michael, who is building his calves, using various exercises, and he has seen very successful growth. So nice work. My question is, do you understand how they are involved in Nordic curls? Because I really don't understand. You're going to have bracing, okay? The calves are involved in squats. The calves are involved in leg press. The calves are involved in Nordic curls, just holding things in a static position. In the same way, if you're holding a barbell right here, but you're not doing any reps, your traps are highly involved in a static form of contraction. The heavy weight you are using on a squat or a leg press, or even the relatively heavy weight or intensity you're using on a Nordic curl, your calves are involved in a very intense static contraction. So it's not unusual to pick up stress or strain in that area. Does that make sense? Big Justin Jones. Geez, man. That's what we say in Wisconsin. Oh, geez. Just got +1 on my bench top set. Good work, man. That's a big jump from 4 to 5. Barely matched last time. Yeah, everything's a win. Barely matched last time. Don't worry about that. Reps gained are yours forever. Missing a rep, if you do a big first set, it's very common for there to be almost a letdown. You could put a lot of exertion, blow out a lot of energy, just blast through your glycogen stores. Who knows what's going on? But you see very, very commonly, especially in presses, someone will have a good set and a inferior back off set, or they'll have a good first exercise and more of an inferior second exercise. Don't worry about reps lost. They always come back, but reps gained are yours forever. Rack pull. I noticed that a lot of natural guys like GVS, NH promote diligent tracking of workouts, but eat intuitively. We have to found this. Let's talk about GVS, because I don't have any idea how NH eats. GVS has done routine bulking. So do you need to have very refined bulking if you're in a calorie surplus and gaining weight? No, he has some degree of understanding, right? So we have to not pile in the same pile intuitive eating with not being precise. He is very precise. He's done some very precise bulks in the lane that he wanted to bulk in. His weight's not holding steady. So to whatever degree there is a high degree of routineness. I mean, I eat intuitively on a daily basis, but I know my volume of food I need to get in for a bulk or cut. Does that make sense? At the end of the day, if the scale is not doing what you need the scale to do on a bulk or a cut, you need to make changes regardless of the practice. If it's not moving at all, you need to make adjustments. How's the wee sausage? Is he getting bigger? Chi Chi is not getting bigger. He's my smallest dog, so no, he is not getting bigger. I got some big boys though. You want to see? Let me see if I can find my 5 dogs for you real quick. We won't take up too much of your time with my boring personal stuff. But let's see. Photos, your photos. This is Mr. Bird, who I call Mr. Bird. He is kind of one of my boys. Let's see. Present, share screen. When I say my boys, we have a really good connection, me and Bird. He's just tiny yet, but great dog, big personality. He's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful dude. And let's see. I'm trying to find your albums or cover photos. And here's my other guys right here. Boop. Chi Chi is the black and white guy. He is my boy. He follows me around everywhere. And he is 100% mine. I mean, he's attached to me. The dachshunds really, really connect with a human. They're called Velcro dogs, and he is a Velcro dog with me. I have it's hard to explain, but I have such a deep relationship with him, a deep connection. It's just, he's just my dog. He goes everywhere. He's my buddy. The one on the left is the original Bubba Sausages. He'll be 5 years old this year. On the far right is Snoopy. Snoopy is, we call him Snoopy because he's Snoopy. He likes to snoop. He is strong. He is big. He is ferocious. He's a monster. Do not be fooled. These guys are incredibly protective. They're great house dogs. They will be aggressive, if you mess with them. They are not to be played around with. And Bluey is the one third from the left. He's more of a dopey kind of dog, but he has his own personality. He's a great dog as well. So those are my 5 dogs. How to deal with progressive overload when maximizing every set and keeping a weight at 80%. You don't keep a weight at 80%. First off, you need to drop percentages. If you're progressively overloading, you should not be worrying about a percentage of weight. You're worried about beating the logbook. Let's say you're doing 225 by 5 and today, or 6, and today it is 80% of your 1 rep max, and you're progressively overloading and you get to 7 and you get to 8. Who cares what your 1 rep max is? Who cares what percentages you are? And I'm not saying that confrontationally. It doesn't matter. Progressive overload, you're trying to beat the logbook in the lane of hard training. Percentages are absolutely meaningless in that world. Big Billy Baker, good to see you, man. Hope you have big plans. We have about 10 questions left. Keep them coming. I'll stay on as long as you guys have questions. Justin Jones lost a rep on the 4th set too. You'll get it back though. And thanks, Ernie. I'm glad. Thoughts on 3 sets on hacks, 3 sets on legs, 2 sets on extensions. That's a pretty solid plan of attack. You also have 3 sets of deadlifts and 3 sets of hams. That's a really good foundation. It's a little bit, on the lower end, massive iron, but it's still within reasonable, what we call reasonable. And you might, some people training 3 days a week, that's a really good fit. Or if you're not after the ultimate maximum leg size for bodybuilding, not saying this isn't impactful, but this is a really good approach, really solid. The key is not to forget the massive iron principle of success, which is evolving your training based on needs. if you get into the gym, you want more sets of leg extensions, or you want to alternate leg extensions and lunges or whatever, don't hesitate to evolve or make small little changes, if that makes sense. Big Rico. What's a simple meal plan that will get me full on 1,800 calories a day for cutting? You know what? Let's build one alive. Let's build one alive. Almost sound like Vince McMahon there, right? So I'm going to present, share screen. Okay. Can I do this? Build an 1,800 calorie meal plan using maximum food volume and a reliance on lean protein and low glycemic filling plant-based choices that includes one larger meal, two smaller meals, and an optional snackaroo. Sorry, we got some spelling mistakes. Typing fast. Give me 3 options for each. If you're not on the Chat GPT bus, including duties. Let's see what it comes up with, shall we? This is a great. Oh, shoot! Stop! I put 18,000 calories. Holy bulkaroliac! I don't think we want to go there. Let's try that again. Boop. Yeah, we don't really want an 18,000 calorie a day bulk. We're not a Olympic level swimmer. So we want to maximize lean protein because this maximizes food volume. Not that fat is evil, but when you maximize lean protein, fat has 9 calories per gram. So when you reduce the amount of fat, you're able to eat more lean protein, more food volume. Combining that with lower glycemic or not really heavy carb sourced and a plant-based is going to give you maximum food volume. So it came up with a larger meal of 7 to 750 calories, smaller meals, and an optional snack. Let's see what we got. We got ground turkey, 2 cups of cauliflower rice. Well done. 1 cup of broccoli. Look at all this food volume. 1 cup of bell peppers, a little bit of olive oil for your fats, low sodium soy sauce. I'm in on that, and an apple for dessert. How wonderful is that? That's a lot of food volume. Basically 4 cups of veggies and ground turkey, and you're getting in a little soil and olive oil, and you can put in, a little bit of hot sauce if you're saucy like me. Grilled chicken and quinoa. I'm not going to read through the whole blah, blah, blah here, but you can see option 3, lentil and tofu chili bowl. Smaller meals, whole wheat, low carb wrap, chicken breast, hummus, edamame pear. And if you don't like any of these ingredients, the good thing is you can go in there and tell it to do something else. So optional snackaroos. Cottage cheese, cucumber. You can take Greek yogurt, plain Greek yogurt, add in dill, salt. Makes a wonderful dip for a lot of veggies, cucumbers and carrots and red bell peppers, all that kind of stuff. Protein smoothie, hard-boiled eggs with carrots. You can take egg whites, or you can take a hard-boiled egg and a couple of egg whites, mix that with Greek yogurt, salt, hot sauce, diced radish, diced onion, stuff like that. You can dice tomato. You can add a lot. You can create a lot of food volume. I will tell you, if you like tomatoes, get the largest tomatoes you can at the store. Get 3 of them. Dice them up. Put them in a bowl. Put a cup or 2 of plain Greek yogurt, put a little bit of salt, put a little bit of hot sauce. From there, if you want, you can dice in onion, you have this just massive bowl of like 250 calories, 300 calories of food, high protein snack. You will be lucky to finish it, and it is 300 calories. Watermelon's a great choice. You can also do regular Greek yogurt with like not cherries, peaches, that sort of thing. So if any of you ever want me to generate a meal plan for you, don't hesitate to hit me up. I'm so used to, Chat GPT is not rocket science, but I'm so used to generating meal plans that I can help. What is a good 2 to 3 day a week program of yours to run while boxing? A 3-day program would be upper posterior full body. So you can do your upper work, which is chest, shoulders, and arms, your posterior work, which is legs and back. And then you can have kind of, I hesitate to say a lighter full body day, but you can put in a mishmash of whatever else you want to sprinkle in the rest of the week, right? Does that make sense? That's a really good 3-day a week program. 2-day a week, I'm going to stick with upper posterior. So you could run the upper posterior full on a flex schedule, really have the meat and potatoes of your lifts on the upper posterior, and then the extra stuff on the full body in case you decide you don't want to or can't do the full body that week. You bet, Aaron. Thank you. Big Joshua Perry. Thank you for answering my question. I'm new and need to, hey, here to help. Don't any of you hesitate to join Team Massive on Discord or message me at any time on Instagram. I'm always here to help. It does, but it surprised me to see much. Yeah, it's always seeing that much growth on your calves is very, very surprising, but we'll absolutely take it. The thing with calf training is there's a lot of speculation, but not a lot of people training it really, really, really hard. If it was way too hard to include all the nuances in a comment here, but thanks for answering. You bet. I knew you use this approach for nutrition. Absolutely. And if you have any follow-up questions, I'm always here to help. Big Gary Thomas, Big GT, the freight train, special delivery Gary. Anyone remember Special Delivery Jones, the wrestler from the WWE? I don't know. I just pulled that out, Gary. I don't know. Good morning, Steve. I have a question. What do you think of personal trainers coming up that are using AI to train? Using AI as a tool is fine if you understand the tool, but I'm not going to use AI to generate programs because everyone is different. I could ask AI to generate a program, but it's not going to be unique for you. You could go in and put in all the parameters and it could understand your programming style, and I think you could use it as a tool, but you still have to have the nuance to be able to adjust it. If a trainer is just using it to generate a workout, they're not a trainer. They're somebody talking to Chat GPT. Does that make sense? So we always have to understand the difference. Most of the things in my program are progressing, but the standing barbell overhead, that's a red flag. The first thing I'm going to ask is, how are your bulks? Okay. The second thing I'm going to ask, is it really not progressing? Here's what I mean. Folks will say their lifts have stalled, and I don't know anything about you. Folks will say their lifts have stalled for 5 months, and then I'll look, and then I'll say, give me the numbers. And they'll say, 5 months ago, it was 90 by 5. Today, it is 97.5 by 7. Well, that's not a stall. That's progression. And if you push that out over the course of a year, is it great progression? No. Is it progression? Yes. So I want to look at the numbers. If you have any numbers, anything you can share, a document, anything I can bring up, I'd be happy to take a look. What's your opinion on the pause squats? I started doing them. They are really hard for me. Not everybody has the same degree of impact with them, but man, they tear me up in a good way. A pause squat will teach you control during your descent, which is a good thing. So if you are dive bombing your squat, a pause squat is a good tool to teach you control, maintaining control as you descend. Dive bombers tend to get sloppy coming up. So they tend to like just go down, get sloppy. The hips tend to come up. They tend to get a little bit of loose. It's not inherently bad, but it can be bad because it can beat up your lower back. Does that make sense? So a pause squat can really, really focus you and teach you good control. And definitely something you should try over the course of a year. Or not of a lifting career, not necessarily a year, but if you're loose, you try pause squat. For some people, it's really, really going to be intense. I have no idea how he coaches, to be honest with you. I mean, no disrespect, but there's a million people out there. I have no idea how most of them teach. I'm just in my own world. If I see something, if you give me something and I see something that doesn't smell right, I will always tell you, but I have no idea how he trains. I'm 5'2", lift weights, 4-day split, sedentary, weigh 120, gained muscle on 20. Did you gain weight though at 22, at 1800? I don't mean any disrespect, but you're 120. Did you gain weight? Are you gaining weight? Should I do cable rows with more cheat? No. Cable rows, you can do a lot of weight very, very strict with cable rows. So let me get my cable row video and I'll explain a few things so we can kind of dive into things a little bit. Let me mute it. Okay. I want to mute it because if it has any advertisements or anything in there, it gets cranky. Present, share screen. I'm just going to let this run. So first off, you can use a lot of weight with a disciplined seated cable row. So I try to control the eccentric, not overly so. I'm not trying to slow-mo reps, but I control the eccentric to the point where I get a slight upper back and lat stretch. Can you see it? Upper back lat stretch. Then I focus on driving my shoulders and elbows back. My torso moves back as a response of driving the elbows back. Your torso can move forward a little bit more, but if you're starting to fold this way, then the first half of your seated cable rows are generally going to be more lower back or lower back initiating the acceleration. So I like to be really dialed in with this. Again, your torso can come 90 degrees or a little bit forward as long as you are initiating with the elbows. At the end, if you've got to a rep where you have slowing of speed, then you could do a few cheat reps at the end where you're using your lower back to initiate and cheating, as long as you can feel the elbows moving back and the back engagement, if that makes sense. Big Billy Baker. Not sure I've gotten your opinion on this before, but what are your thoughts on intermittent fasting? Way back in the day, and I'm just going to go on a history lesson. I did intermittent fasting for a number of years. Not because it was magic, but because I like big meals and I found it easier to go throughout the day without a lot of food. And this was before intermittent fasting was really a big craze. There was a book called The Warrior Diet by Ori Hofmeckler. And I asked him a question once for bodybuilding. What do you think about intermittent fasting? He goes, if you're strictly after muscle building and not just, you can still have maximum muscle or really good muscle. The body's not that fragile. But he said it's probably a better thing to add in a little bit of protein during the underfeeding window. And that upset a lot of people because it wasn't strict intermittent fasting, right? But it's absolutely fine. There's no real downside to it if it works for you. If it's a good tool, use it. You're talking about a big breakfast, big dinner. That's not really intermittent fasting. That's just kind of, my last meal is usually about 8 o'clock, and I don't usually eat again till about 11. Usually intermittent fasting is a 16-hour window or longer. I mean, when you get to 12, it's just normal eating. Let's be real. Most people eat at 7 or 8, and then they don't eat again until the morning at 7 or 8. I don't consider 12 hours to be intermittent fasting. That's normal eating. What you're speaking of here isn't technically intermittent fasting. It is cutting out, it is fasting between breakfast and dinner. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just trying to establish a line of communication rather than create rules. It's actually good to eat fewer meals when it comes to hunger control. That's basically what it's not too far off from what I do. I usually eat a meal at like 11, eat a smaller meal at about 1, and then I don't eat again until 7. I think there is value in eating fewer times per day because I think you reduce the likelihood you're going to run into issues, with the insulin roller coaster. So absolutely nothing wrong with that. And however you structure your meals, it doesn't really matter much as long as it is working well for you, etc. Does that make sense? Thank you. I appreciate it. And Gary, I appreciate the understanding of my wacky humor. We got 4 questions left, guys. Get your questions in now or I'll be hopping off. Is it normal to lose a significant amount of pressing? Yeah, absolutely. Pressing is really what gets hit on a cut more than anything. Not that other areas can't get hit, but it is really generally hit hard. So you're down 20 pounds in 4 months. That's good progress. I would step it up and aim for 7-8 pounds a month. Get it over with. Not a criticism. Just trying to encourage you to get it over with. Don't linger in cut zone. It's been 135/7 since November. How has your bulking been going? How focused are your 4 or 5 month lean bulks? Have you gained any weight? Happy Friday, Team Massive. Didn't have a bad training week overall, but I've been struggling on increasing my strength. Few weeks, really nothing much at all, man. That's pretty normal. What things I can do besides going in a bulk? Besides going in, but you better be in a bulk. You need to be in a bulk. Not bashing your balls, but you need to be in a bulk. Patience. I mean, adding a rep on your front squat every third week is adding 5 pounds to your max every third week. That's 85 pounds to your front squat. You have to establish consistency, kind of understand your rate of gain on that lift and understand you're probably in a lot better place than you think. Thanks, Aaron. I appreciate it. All right, guys, that is about it. We are done for the day. I'm going to hang around and wait for a few more questions. Please check out the coaching tab over at superlivingtoday.com. I would love to work with you, whether you sign up for a year or you do the month to month. I also have a custom workout service. If you go over here and search custom, it's my most popular service, and it is only $39.99. I keep that extremely cost efficient. Just wondering, a skinny, fat, short person who gains weight eating 18. I need to know more information. I really do. I need to know your overall body weight. A lot of times, if you're skinny, fat, but you don't weigh much, you don't need to gain. You don't need to cut. You need to build muscle. If you have a picture, you don't need to share it with the world, but if you have a picture, I'd be happy to look at it. Tom Hill. 68 and getting back at it. Good work on the pre-pandemic stuff. I think you have a lot of potential to regain that strength back. I don't want it to make it all about strength, but muscle memory is a real thing. Ease into things. Take your time over 4 to 5 months. Just let things come to you. Slowly build up. Try to have a reasonable degree of consistency with your diet. You don't need to bulk. You can get your strength back just kind of at maintenance using muscle memory. Tom, if you need any more help, I would love to work with you, or, I'm not talking about coaching, but, if you need any more guidance, don't hesitate to, head over to Team Massive or message me. How to know if my workout plan is working? Is it one of mine? Then it's working. Check out my massive collection at superlivingtoday.com or any of my workouts that are free here. If you feel you're training hard, if you're focused on progressive overload or building strength over time, and you are in a lean bulk and you have a reasonable exercise selection, your workout is definitely working. All right, guys, that is it. We are out of here. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm here every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next week.
It's not almost over. It's not almost over. You're not almost there. You're not almost there. You're not almost there.